That's it. What's up? Just trying to unwind. Had that long drive back. And just kind of trying to deal with the anxiety and everything. Yeah. Kind of unwinding from everything as best I can so I can go to sleep here soon because I need to get up early. Because I should have a phone call or something, I'm hoping, from the realtor on this one house. And then, yeah, I gotta deal with another phone call possibly. Well, I will. It's because, yeah, and it's most likely going to be early in the morning, so I need to make sure I'm awake. I'm not sure I can say much more at this point about anything. It's just, the only thing that keeps coming up is why. So, I'm just hoping that at least by sometime mid next month or end of the month, I'll have a new home and I can leave. And I'm not sure I'll even be feeling safe on that either. But it's like, what do you do? I was just surprised that somebody on the other end of that line was actually like listening for once. And it's just, like I've been saying too, I'm very much on a roller coaster with all this right now, and I'm trying to slow it down. Yeah, with everything going on all at once again, it's very overwhelming. So I try to bottle some of it so I can basically deal with it later. Nighttime's always the hardest for me. I don't like this feeling anymore. I don't like missing and loving somebody as much as I do, even though they've hurt me so much. And so like I said, I don't want to keep going over that stuff. I just want it to be done and over with, but at the same time, it really isn't going to be. Even if I leave, I still have to live in fear of this person and what they're doing with even my identity. I mean, the more I started thinking about it, it was like, yeah, they've told me a couple times over time that, they've signed me up for this, that, and the other, and it never clicked on me at that time that they had that much information of mine that they could just, it's not like I wouldn't expect it because we'd been together for so long. I mean, I actually was hoping to marry this girl. I just wish she would just stop obsessing over other people. But to have that information at hand to do that, the more I thought about it, the more it bothers me. Because it's like, how many things have I been signed up for that I don't know about? And the idea how evasive she was with the electric bill. No, I'm paying it. No, I'm doing that. It's like, no, you've been signing me up for this stuff. You've even admitted to it. Well, no, I'm making payment. And then I find out, like, there hasn't been a payment since April 11th, and it's because she was relying on those things, and then she stopped. Like, she was intending for the last few months to fuck me over really bad. So it's like, even if the more I can't help but think about it, even when I move and I start to get past this stuff, it's like, how do you not worry about somebody else doing this to you again? Knowing that it was that easy for this person to do it to me, and I look back on everything, and it's like, you know, yeah, hindsight is always, you always have the best view from hindsight when you're looking back, but it's, the more I look back, the more it hurts, because the more I can't help but question what's the entire thing of, not necessarily planned like that, but was it all intentional? Was this all done on purpose from the very start, from the time she walked in that hospital posing as my wife? That still bothers me a lot, because even as much as she get pissed off at me when I say it, it's like, look, from my point of view, when I went to sleep with my wife next to me. I didn't know there was any problems going on. I didn't, like, none of that other than that night. I just was like, I don't feel right. I said something to her and my mom. I don't feel right. There's something really wrong. I'm like, just go to sleep, and then, you know, tomorrow, if you're still feeling that way, we'll get taken up and all that. And it was the next day that all this shit happened. So it's like, when I wake up in the hospital, I'm getting told, hey, your wife's here, and I'm looking over, and it's my older son's mom. It's not my wife. And I'm going, what are you doing here? You're not my wife. It's like, that's why I always said I feel like I woke up in a different reality at times, because it's like, wait a minute, what the fuck's going on? Like, what happened when I was sleeping? Or when, yeah, what happened? And so I've had questions at times, and then people tell me what happened during that. It's like, I don't have any memory of that. What I do remember is not good, but I don't have that memory. Like, it was black. And, like, what 2 glimpses that I have from that, it was like watching things on a TV. Like, it was just, other than that, it was just black. And I couldn't understand what was going on or anything like that. Like, what was that place? But that's what scared me, even to this day. I'm afraid of death. It was just black. And then when those two moments or images, I realized and then the fact that I didn't know until later that my wife and her mom were, like, kicked out of, like, from being able to visit me, and it was right after that she began basically playing as my wife. Using my, telling me, it was my son who wanted her to be there, but my son never really gave a shit about me. So it's like, even then, it didn't really quite match up to me. And, like, yeah, she would not, I was thankful for her to be there by my side. I wouldn't have, without her support, I probably wouldn't have dealt with the loss of my wife so well. I'm thankful for her. That's why when I look back on everything, it's like, I never stopped loving her. I was always in love with her. That's the thing that my kids hated me for, and I know Melissa hated me for. It's like, I never stopped loving either my wife or her. My children's moms. And I understand when things are over, they're over, but it doesn't mean I don't stop loving somebody. It doesn't mean I want to go right back out and go right back to that either. And, like, there was nobody else that I ever kept, like, either taking back or begging back at times. That much. To the point I quit begging as much as I missed her. I was trying to cope. And it got to the point she would start begging, start talking to me. Yeah. So I look back on everything, and it's like, it's not like she went out and murdered my brother or my friend Heather or anything like that, but say after Jess was gone and Heather was gone, I didn't have anybody else after that. There's nobody else after that. I feel like that very first argument that we had here at my folks' place, I kept telling her to stop. And she kept going, and I kept telling her to stop, and that's when I just ended up punching the fucking TV and broke my hand. And I remember that argument. And I also remember when she came to me and told me about my friend Heather kissing her. And that ruined the friendship. That was the last time I spoke to Heather, was because of that situation. I got angry. I was like, what the fuck? I feel like those two situations were like her practice run on figuring out yeah. It's caused me to look that far fucking back. It's made me question and wonder, okay, you weren't just using me the entire time to pull yourself back together and get back on your feet and basically do the things you want to do with your life, and then leave me in the fucking dirt after you broke me and drained me of everything. I look back on everything and now I question everything. I'm going to leave you, this, that, and the other. And the only two people I put my foot down with was Kia and Phil, because those two really overstepped some lines. They really overstepped some lines. And those are the two she fought the hardest for. And then I gave up on, because I didn't want to be that person that was like controlling friendships. It's like, I'm trying to trust you, and I'm showing all this trust even when you're going around a couple people, even now, I did not like or care for because they're fucked up influences. Miss, yeah, I got away with doing dope because the court's fucked up. That was the very first introduction of that person, and immediately, no. I think it's because Melissa told her about how I feel about that shit because of my brother who killed him. And I think that was kind of an intentional jab. That's why part of me is starting to question if she isn't doing some shit. To some degree. There's something else going on. I just can't understand this stuff. And it's been going on since we got the house. So I'm not sure. She didn't even know that person when we got the house. Went from constantly, I'm going to fucking leave you, to I'm leaving you literally every couple months, always starting in October, and then you're always leaving me in April, and then it starts over every fucking year, and then I get told it's my fault. And then once I start breaking down and shutting down, and it's like, I give up. Your family wins. They all win. If you just got rid of me, you'd get them all back. No, we're not having this conversation. We're not arguing. Nobody controls my relationship. Then were you planning this? To intentionally destroy my life, have me alienated and isolated and demonized and everything, where everybody fucking hates me for what? So you don't have to feel guilty about cheating and lying the whole time? You break me down and start guilting me into a situation so you can get what you want, and as soon as you get what you want, you, in the middle of a meltdown, you're screaming at me. Quit being a piece of shit and a fucking asshole. All through the house. I'm starting to wonder if you knew that I was autistic even before I was diagnosed. There's a lot of things I'm starting to wonder right now. And I don't know if that was just like an obvious thing, or it's just, well, you've known me long enough that you know me. Just like I know you. That's why I'm afraid of you. See, I think the first time I got scared of this person was when we were first, like, actually together, like, actual relationship-wise. Now, I don't know how many times she talk about how she had, the reason why she ended up in the hospital and all while married was because she was fantasizing about slicing her husband's throat while he was sleeping. And she'd justify it with, how he treated her and all that stuff. And, to a degree, I can understand that to a degree. But it was scaring me. And she'd talk about these different dreams she had about, like some girl being dead in a bathtub, bleeding, that type of thing. Just these weird fucking dreams. And I told her, like, these are really fucked up dreams. Like, that does bother me. And then after a while, after we moved out of Canby, because we were in between that moving thing, she wanted to go move with a friend, and all of a sudden I was constantly her ex-husband all of a sudden. So imagine having somebody having those types of fantasies, that kind of history because of that shit, and then start comparing you to the person that she was fantasizing cutting his throat in his sleep. And then after so long, you end up finding out about the kids. What really happened is that you can't say anything. And as you're getting treated like shit at work. You're getting treated like shit at home. You can't do anything right. Start mentally breaking you down. And start constantly threatening to leave you. You're making less and less money. And the only reason why I made so much at the one job is because I actually got to keep all my tips. Not just like 10% of it and had to give the rest to everybody else. I did really well at my one job that I made enough of my tips I could pay all of the rent just from the tips alone, and I got to keep my paychecks. So we had more freedom and all that stuff. It was doing pretty good, but when I had the gun pulled on me, I was starting to get singled out. I was literally being pushed out of my job to the point I was forced to quit. And you can't say one word without getting sent home without pay and getting told that, you said this, and it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I had driven out, and I ended up instead of just waiting for that next high-paying job or whatever, that job that was paying me just as much, I took the next job that I knew I could get that would still pay the bills, even if it was $1 less. I didn't care if I got paid $1 less or $1 more, as long as those fucking bills are paid, because that's more important at that moment until something else come along or what have you. I got driven out of that job because of what I was dealing with from just the public abuse, because all the politics in the Portland area. So I ended up at Homegrown. And the bosses there were really cool. It's just, I was having problems with some of the coworkers. I was starting to be alienated. I was dealing with some of the shit with customers and all that stuff too, and it started breaking me down. And then working 2 jobs for a while there and doing all that work nonstop, almost 7 days a week. And it was breaking my body down more and more and more. And the whole time, all I wanted her to do was just love me and have a relationship. But instead, I had to listen to what kind of piece of shit I was behind my back. Literally. Kitchen right here right behind me, at the sink, talking shit to her mom about how I don't do anything and all this crap. The point, it just broke me down so much. I was physically being broken down. I was physically being drained. I was mentally being drained. I was financially just broke and trying to give everything I could. The point, I ended up going to see a doctor. All that, my health was just dropping fast. And so I ended up on SSD. I worked my ass off to make sure that if I ended up in that position, I was still making my income. It could at least replace my income. And I did that. And when I broke down that much, because I just was overworking myself, my back, my spine, everything was falling apart. It's crumbling. Disabled, and I got to hear even more what kind of piece of shit I was, what kind of fucking loser I was, and I could have done so much more with my life, because I'm an intelligent person. These are the type of things I get nitpicked on, and it was constant. Anytime I tried to defend myself or ask for help, I get told to go fuck myself. That's actually why she got the couch tipped on her while she was laying on the couch, just laying there. And I tipped it over in a way that made her roll off the couch. And then she went claiming all this other shit. Oh, Al. It's like, don't you get it? It's like, you put it on the shit on me, and then you just keep spouting off and mouthing off. And it's like, you're just gaslighting. And it's like, look, I'm trying to... I still remember that. I wasn't... It's like, look, we're paying for all these bills, and I'm paying for all this shit. My dad's helping for all this shit. You're just laying there, and all I'm at... I was asking for help, all this shit, and it's like, go fuck yourself. That's what I got. It's like she knew how to gaslight it to push it, but it's like, I'm not gonna. There's no way I could cross that line to actually do harm. It's like, no, I'm not. No, you're trying to get me to do that. It's like, no, I'm just gonna tip you off the couch, let you roll off. You rolled, by that point, 8 to 12 inches onto the floor with a pillow and a blanket. I've fallen 5 feet from a bunk bed onto the concrete floor with a pillow and blanket before. It doesn't feel good, but falling 8 to 12 inches, like literally rolling off a couch. That's why she doesn't use some of these situations anymore to keep bringing up and argue, because she knows it's just not valid bullshit for her. That's why she kept trying, like, all the way up to the hammer shit. She tried to rely on that, but I'm sorry, it's... No. What is it going to take for her to realize, like, even after telling me she cheated on me, doing all this fucked up shit that she's been doing, at what point have I actually done anything to do what she's accused me of? I haven't even seen her since the day before she told me all this shit. When she told me what she did, I was, I started realizing what she was doing. She was trying to gaslight a situation. She was trying to set me up into a position that I would she'd get a reaction and then just throw me in jail. Like she did to me before. I was like, no, I'm getting out of here as fast as possible. I know what this woman's doing. So I grabbed my shit, my dogs, and got the fuck out. I knew what she was doing. Making all these threats. Like I said, she went from threatening to leave me, to leaving me all the time, to ended up throwing me in, pulling some shit to throw me in jail, and then kept throwing me in jail, to then constantly threatening me with the police, to this. And she's going, I got tired of you telling me to leave. It's like, because you don't give a shit about me. And anytime I try to confront this abuse that I've been dealing from Kenneth, because of her, oh, that 100% doesn't matter anymore. It's like, well, then why don't you just fucking leave? Why is it that I have to take all this fucking abuse, and it's okay for that, but you're always complaining to me about how he treats you too, or your mom? And I've spoke up on that. That's been in one of my videos below from a while ago. Because it's wrong what he's been doing, even to them. Whether they like me or not. I at least, I'm not even going to say that. Because, no, that's not, I think it'll be taken wrong. It's just, it's wrong what he's been doing. How he's been responding. But then I start to wonder, like, yeah, I understand why he doesn't want to talk to me at all. I mean, we had such a bad falling out, and then the parental alienation syndrome that he's dealing with. I understand. But that's why I don't want anything to do with him anymore. His mom really successfully destroyed any form of type of relationship that could have been there. And all that she was asked was to at least tell him the truth and allow us to start finally being able to fucking have a relationship again and a family again, make amends. Oh, that doesn't fucking matter. I don't have to do that. So it means you can keep lying to my kids, and they're going to keep believing you. Like, she destroyed my relationship with my kids, several of my friends, several of my family members, everything. I ended up deciding to go ahead and post everything back up on my account, and all the videos with all the stuff on there too. And even the phone calls, all of it. It's all on there. It's pinned, but it's private right now. Or only I can see it. I gotta try and get some sleep. This stuff is going through my head because of this phone call I'm supposed to get here tomorrow. And I'm also hoping to get the phone call from the realtor people on this house that I'm looking at. And then, yeah. I'm just so tired of this shit. Yeah, I ended up before I forget, I ended up finding this, this text, set of text messages between her and I. And this was when she was, I think she was still working for Access. And it was right about the same time that she was, like, demanding that I go get a job. Basically that she was bitching about how much she was spending, and she's trying to say that she was spending, like, pretty much almost $1,200 on food. and $400 a month on gas. And it's like, how are you doing that when you're using my food stamp card when you have it? You've had it the whole time. Anytime I get back, there's usually maybe a couple dollars and all, but then she takes it again, or I have to give it to her again, because why do I need it? She's the one who's always in town while I'm stuck at home. Because I don't have the money to leave. And what gas I keep in my truck, I don't leave very often, because usually it's I usually end up getting stuck with just a quarter tank in my truck, and it takes pretty much just that to get to town and barely get home. So I always stayed, because if I needed to get out of there, get an emergency leave, or I actually needed to go to town, I could. And half the time, yeah, my dad ended up having to help me with fuel and smokes at times, so I can at least leave. And he was the only way I was able to get up here each month to see my family. It was the only way I could see my parents, was if they helped me on fuel, because I was so financially drained. And just comparing the incomes, I mean, now she's making like $40,000-$50,000 a year. But back then, she was making maybe $100-something more than me, and I had maybe $50-$60 to my name. And at that time, I didn't have some of the other bills that we have now, or I should say that I have now, and that's not including the electric. Like, I'm being left with about $50, if at not most $75 a month. Even if I didn't smoke, it's still not enough for me to be able to. It costs, like right now, it's like $4 something a gallon, and even back then it was like $4 something a gallon. So let's just say $4.50, and my truck is a 25-gallon truck. Even my little car, I couldn't drive it anywhere, especially during the winter time. During the winter time, this last winter, I couldn't leave. The only time I could leave really was either using her vehicle or with her. I was able to use my truck and all that after a while, but I could only leave so much. I was still broke all the time. I was always stuck in that house, especially during the winter time, because I couldn't dig anything out really anymore or do all that shit. I was almost stuck in that house damn near almost the whole 3 to 6 months that I was there, other than during that winter, other than when I went and visited my folks or went to the market in town, which I got, would do at least once a week, to, if I got lucky, twice a week. But for most part, I was always stuck at my home. And after a few days of being alone at the house, other than when she'd come home and I'd have to make her dinner, and then she'd go lay in bed, watch TV a little bit, go to sleep, and then every few hours check her phone throughout the night. While I'm sitting there trying to unwind and going through all that anxiety from all the shit, because I'm watching my relationship fail. There's nothing I could do. I was ever good enough. I just was the roommate who was paying all the bills and the maintenance man, that type of thing, to the point I was just always a piece of shit. Like, she made sure that I heard her dad talking shit about me on the phone right there in front of me in the living room. I'm going to sign off now. Have a good night. And before I forget, signing off, before I forget on all this, I never asked anything of her other than I wanted her to focus on the relationship and not on everybody else. I didn't care how much money she made. I didn't care what she was doing. I mean, I was literally paying for like 90% of the living expenses, while all she had was a car, a cell phone, insurance, and then anytime she needed new clothes, she got to go get all the new clothes she wanted. While I'm still wearing clothes that I wore back in 2015. I've got some going back to like 2012. Like, I've got clothes that are falling off me, that are falling apart. I've only in the last 2 years have been able to get like maybe a half a dozen t-shirts or so, and then I've only been able to get like two new pairs of pants. I've been able to get socks or hat, and just only recently a couple new jackets and then of course the Carhartt that I got for Christmas from her. But I haven't had any new actual clothes. Everything's got holes in it, even my fucking underwear and my socks. While she's getting new wardrobes to go on dates and everything like that and telling me it's for work. No, it's not. You've been lying to me. She was looking at her income then. She was lying, not only lying to me about how much she was spending on shit. She was like, even then, I was having to even pay for her errands bill so that she could keep the TV stand that she's got now, and the couch, which we ended up throw out because that was the couch set that I ended up paying I paid for that whole thing for, and that was the couch I got stuck on that was covered in cat piss. While she sat comfortably in her room, I was stuck sleeping on a couch full of piss. And I had to do all this shit around there. And it just never stopped. And the whole time she's telling everybody I'm this big abusive piece of shit. I couldn't say anything. Nobody would fucking believe me. And half the time I was afraid to do anything. It wasn't until this situation that I was like, no, I'm going public. I'm getting help. I'm gonna try and find help. This has been nonstop. Because I'm afraid that if I was to get stuck there and stay, then 3 to 6 months from now, I would end up all of a sudden getting my emails and random fucking calls again, and all going, why won't you talk to me, blah, 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 just like before. After she's just done what she's done. She was living above her financial capabilities to live a certain lifestyle while she had me fucking drained for 4 fucking years, financially and mentally and physically, every which way. And then as soon as she finally got the job she really wanted, I don't need you anymore, but I'm going to rack up the fucking bill. I'm going to cheat on you, demand you to fucking let me live in your house while I scare you out of there, threatening the police on you all the time, and then I'll demand you to help me move, because realistically, I'm going to try and set you up into a situation where you have to deal with my new boyfriend, and then I can throw you in jail, which realistically, that wouldn't have looked good on her on that part. She's actively been trying to get me hurt. Between getting my kids to the point of wanting to do serious harm to me, down to there's people out there I don't know who the fuck they are that she's got doing that to, because she's talked so much shit and lied to so many people. She couldn't convince the courts of what kind of piece of shit I was, so she's convincing everybody else that won't fucking listen or look. And just take her fucking word because they're like, but she's so sweet and so kind.